Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream for this hugely significant Monday night football in the Premier League. It is the Hill Dickinson Stadium that will play host to Everton taking on title-chasing Manchester City. After a weekend of results that haven't necessarily gone either team's way, 3 points that are up for grabs are a must for both. The Toffees are aiming for a first European finish since 2017 when they finished 7th to go into the Europa League. Currently in 11th position, a win tonight for Everton would take them up to 9th on goal difference, but only 2 points off 6th position. It is now back-to-back defeats for David Moyes' side, with both games ending 2-1 after travelling to the London Stadium last week and losing, and also finding a defeat in the first Merseyside derby here at their new stadium. For Manchester City, a domestic treble is still on the table, but they are now 6 points off Arsenal after the Gunners' comfortable win against Fulham on Saturday. However, the Blues do have the 2 games to catch up on, and that includes tonight, and it's 6 wins in a row for Guardiola's side, and their last 2 have come away from the Etihad after booking their spot into the FA Cup final after a late scare against Southampton in the semi-final. And they also hobbled over the line at Turf Moor after an early Erling Haaland goal got them a 1-0 win, which put them top at the table at the time, but now they are the one chasing the top of the table once again. The reverse fixtures saw a 2-0 win to Manchester City after an Erling Haaland brace midway into the second half, and Goodison Park was a happy stomping ground for Manchester City. They have won their last 9 away at Everton in all competitions, and the Toffees have not beaten their opponents since a 4-0 result back in January 2017. So, in this game with colossal meaning, will it be Everton or Manchester City to take away all 3 points in the chase for European football and the race for the title? This game is absolutely massive. Everton can't jump too high up into the table, but because it's so tight and congested, they can get real close to that 6th place. If they win, they'd go on 50 points. Bournemouth are currently 6th on 52. So even though they'd only jump up to 9th position, as mentioned before, they'd only be 2 points away from Bournemouth in 6th and 8 away from Aston Villa in 5th. But I feel like that top 5 is probably just a little too out of touch for all the teams below the likes of Manchester United, who have now guaranteed themselves Champions League football. Liverpool, not quite there yet, and so with Aston Villa. I think they're just about too far ahead for any of the other teams to catch them in that top 5. But for the likes of Bournemouth and Brentford and Brighton and Fulham and Everton, those kind of teams, Europa League or Conference League football will be a huge success for them, especially in a Premier League where everyone is so competitive. And you've got Sunderland, who have come up this season, who have tailed off towards the end of the season, but they've been pretty strong throughout. And then you've got Chelsea, who are still struggling, and just so many teams that based off size and maybe recent Premier League history, that you won't quite put them behind these teams. But I think Bournemouth under Iraola, especially the last couple of months with their unbeaten run, have been incredible. Brentford all season have been really consistent under Keith Andrews. I think Brighton have gone about their business really quietly and kind of just got themselves up there without anyone really noticing. And I know Fabian Herzler, their manager, has signed a new deal today. But for Manchester City, this is a chance to close the gap to 3 points on Arsenal, to then still have a game in hand. So, of course, they can still level things up on the points front. But it is goal difference that could be the main sort of twisting turn in this title race. Arsenal currently on 41 plus goal difference, Manchester City on 37 plus goal difference. Arsenal have scored 1 more though than Manchester City. Arsenal have scored 67 compared to Manchester City's 66, but Arsenal have only conceded 26 compared to Manchester City's 29. That is how close the margins are in this season's Premier League title race. And for Manchester City, they have won 4 of their last 5 away games in the Premier League, unbeaten in their last 6, and just 1 defeat on their travels in the league in their last 11, and that was at Old Trafford against Manchester United back in the middle of January. But overall, it's been a good run for Manchester City, more so in all competitions. They've won 6 in a row since their home defeat, which crashed them out of the Champions League back on the 17th of March against Real Madrid. But it's Hill Dickinson Stadium which is a new place of interest for Manchester City. They've not played here yet since it opened at the start of this season. It holds just under 53,000 supporters, of around a 750 million construction cost for this ground. And as mentioned before, City have won their last 9 in a row at Goodison. It's no longer the place they will travel to. They'll want to try and replicate that sort of winning run here at Hill Dickinson's, making a winning start at this ground tonight, as both sets of players are in the tunnel waiting to be let out by tonight's referee of Michael Oliver. We'll go through the starting 11s very shortly, as there'll be so many teams watching this that will either be Team Everton or Team Manchester City. Of course, Everton fully aware of the fact that European football is still very much on for them. They have got some challenging games coming up, but definitely ones they'll see that they can win. They travel to Crystal Palace at the end of this week and then host Sunderland, who knocked them out of the FA Cup here earlier on in the season. Then their final game is away at Tottenham. That could be a very juicy fixture. And then for Manchester City, they've still got 5 games left to play this season, 4 in the Premier League after tonight. They host Brentford at the weekend and then have Crystal Palace on the Wednesday on the 13th, then go to Wembley on the 16th, then Bournemouth away on the 19th, and then finishing their season at the Etihad against Aston Villa on the 24th. It's a very heavy packed fixture list for Manchester City, but they're used to it. They know what it takes to win these trophies, and they'll have to try and stand up to the mark once again as both sets of starting 11s are out onto the pitch, lining up. As we'll go through the home starting 11, it's 3 changes from their defeat last weekend to West Ham United. It's Jordan Pickford to remain in goal, and it's the same back 4 of Jake O'Brien, James Tarkowski, Michael Keane and Vitaly Mykolenko. 2 older midfielders. This is where there's one of the changes. James Garner starts again. He has started every game this season for Everton in all competitions, but he'll play alongside Tim Irabunum, who comes in for Adjust Gay, who picked up a knock in training, so he's out for tonight's game. 3 behind the striker. On the right hand side is their loanee from Freiburg, Merlin Roll, who is making just his 13th Premier League appearance of the season. On the left hand side is Iliman Ndiaye, who has scored 6 league goals this season, just 1 though in his last 8, and it did come here against Chelsea a couple of weeks ago. And then in the number 10 position, wearing number 22, it's his 100th appearance in the Premier League, and it's Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who has scored 2 in his last 3, both against London opposition, against West Ham and Brentford. And leading the line back from his concussion absence, and that is Beto, who has scored 4 in his last 3 games before missing West Ham away last weekend due to a concussion injury picked up against Liverpool. And he'll be wanting to try and score his 9th goal of the season. That'll be 1 better than he got last season, where he scored 8 in 30. At the moment, he's on 8 in 33. He'll definitely want to try and get towards double figures for the league campaign. As for Manchester City, it's 1 change from their last league lineup against Burnley, and it's Donnarumma to starting goal. A back 4 of Matheus Nunes, Abdul Kadir Kusanov, Mark Gay and Nico O'Reilly. The only change sees O'Reilly go into left back and Nico Gonzalez come into midfield to play alongside Bernardo Silva, who's making his 300th Premier League appearance for Manchester City. And 3 behind the striker. On the right hand side is Antoine Semenyo. On the left is Jeremy Doku. And behind the striker is Ryan Cherky. And of course, leading the line will be number 9, Erling Haaland, who has scored 2 in a row now in the Premier League against Burnley and Arsenal. Yet to score a hat-trick this season in the Premier League, but did score his first hat-trick of the season in the Liverpool quarter-final game at the Etihad Stadium. So he'll be looking to do more damage to these Merseyside clubs and try and get Manchester City a vital 3 points at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. We are about to get underway here in the blue side of Merseyside. But this is nothing new to Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, who has won 6 Premier League titles since joining the club back in 2016. Of course, there is massive rumours that he might be leaving come the end of this season. He does have a contract until the end of next season, Pep Guardiola, but he has certainly earned the right to leave on his own terms. Of course, Manchester City will more than likely want him to stay, but I think it will be down to the Spaniard, who has brought nothing but success here at Manchester City. 420 victories in his 587 games in charge so far. And despite tonight probably not being one of the biggest games he took charge of, it could have monumental effect for the rest of the season. It will be Everton to kick us off, kicking right to left. It will be Manchester City left to right in their first trip to the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Everton kick us off, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall flicking it up and volleying it up towards the 18-yard box of Manchester City's, and it's easily caught by Donnarumma, who will roll it out to his left to Mark Gay, just stood on the edge of the 18-yard box, goes into the centre of the pitch to Gonzalez, and then back to Gay, who stood in the exact same position as he was when he first released it. He'll bring it forward 5 yards. No press at the moment from the Everton front line. It's still with the number 15, Gay, out to the far side to Bernardo Silva, back inside to Gay, who's still on the edge of his own 18-yard box, goes across to number 45, Kusanov, who's making his 5th start in a row in the Premier League since the injury of Ruben Diaz. As Manchester City push up the pitch, they're just before the halfway line with Kusanov going back across to Gay. Kusanov once more being closed down by Beto, gets around the number 9. He's slightly pulled. The referee allows play to carry on as City have still got the ball. On the edge of the 18-yard box, centre of the pitch here with Kusanov, who's looking to try and play the ball forward. He's had to go across once more, 10 yards to his left to Gay, the January signing from Crystal Palace for £20 million. His contract was expiring in the summer at Palace. They decided to cash in and recoup some money for the now number 15 for Manchester City. They are into the Everton half for the first time. About 10 yards inside it with Gonzalez, looking out towards the right side, then turns out and goes to the left to Gay, midway inside the Everton half. He's got O'Reilly on his outside, goes down the middle to Erling Haaland, touches it to Silva. Haaland back to Gonzalez. It's Cherky, his first involvement in the game. Núñez to this near side to Semenyo, Mikalenko following him, not staying too tight, as Semenyo goes back to Núñez, as he's about 10 yards away from the halfway line. Slight slip, and Ndiaye can bring it away for Everton. Not got much support around him. Trying to twist and turn away from Núñez, tries to go on the outside of the Portuguese international, but it's well recovered from the number 27 in a right-back position. Plays it back to Donnarumma, who clears it first time. Up towards Semenyo, over his head. Trickles beyond the halfway line, and it's played all the way back by Keane to Pickford. It will bounce towards the England number 1, and he can play it across to his right to Tarkowski, midway side his own half. It's a ball over the top towards Dewsbury Hall. The flag stays down for now. The ball just bounces too far in front of him, and it will go through to Donnarumma in the 18-yard area, who can collect for the Blues and roll it out to Mark Gay, who's got the 1 Premier League goal so far for Manchester City. That came away at Chelsea a couple of weeks ago. Also scored his first goal for them in the FA Cup against Salford. There's Doku trying to go around the outside of Roll, who's in the starting 11 for Everton for the 4th time this season. He just pulls the Belgian to the ground, and that'll be a free kick for Manchester City on the far side. Just less than 3 minutes played. It's still 0-0 here at Hill Dickinson, as it is 18 unbeaten for Manchester City in all competitions against Everton, winning 15 and drawing 3. Just 1 win in the last 22 for Everton, and that was in that 4-0 win at Goodison Park back in January 2017. Taken short by Silva to Cherky. He's got Doku on his outside. He'll play it into the middle of the park here to Kusanov, who's just about 5 yards in front of the centre circle. Out to this right side to Núñez. Now with Semenyo in the final third. Everything to his left. He's 1-on-1 with Mikalenko. Cuts inside, then backheels it for the runner Cherky. He then plays it through into the box for Núñez. Tries to pull back towards Semenyo. Cut out by Keane. It's now Mikalenko at left back. Low ball down the left-hand side for Dewsbury Hall. Just before the halfway line. He's just shown too much of the ball to Cherky, then knocks his face, and that'll be a free kick for Manchester City. He's down in some discomfort here, Ryan Cherky. Kane and Dewsbury Hall pleading his innocence. Just more of an accidental knock of the elbow into the side of the neck of Cherky. I think he's potentially overdoing the rolling around maybe there, Ryan Cherky. Sure, it'll be absolutely fine to continue. He's still just slightly hobbling as Manchester City get the ball back underway. It's Bernardo Silva who has his pass intercepted by Irabunum, but thankfully for Bernardo Silva, it deflects the halfway line to Gay on the far side, who then loses it himself to Roll. He's now better on the right wing position. He loses out to Doku, good defending from the Belgian winger, and City have it midway side their own half. It's Nunes down the centre of the pitch, lays it off to his left 5 yards to Gonzalez. Plenty of time on the ball for the Spaniard, who's currently deputising for the injured Rodri. Another slip, and Gonzalez gives it away. Dewsbury Hall gets around him, about 30 yards from goal, goes to his left to Garner, former Manchester United player. Bursts into the box down the left-hand side. He's surrounded by City shirts. He's been forced towards the corner flag, spins and crosses, and it rolls to Gonzalez, and it can be dealt with by Manchester City. It's a scare, though. A couple of slips going on early on. That was a major one from Gonzalez, as Cherky's the one to bring it away beyond the halfway line, down the right-hand side, looking in behind for Semenyo. Comes off the heel of Mikalenko, back towards Cherky, who's brought down by Irabun and fairly, according to Michael Oliver. And Everton have the ball again in Diaye. To Garner, inside to Irabunum, still on this near side, tackle well by Gonzalez, it breaks to Semenyo, Cherky to his right, Haaland to his left, Semenyo about 25 yards out, centre of the pitch, goes to O'Reilly, and back out wide to the left, to Doku, one-on-one with O'Brien, slips it in behind him for O'Reilly in the area, tries to play it into the box, cut out by Tarkowski, and it's a corner on the far side for Manchester City, just less than 6 minutes in, and it's Everton 0, Manchester City 0, still no major chances so far. But there's been a few slips and a few nervy moments, especially from Manchester City in possession. A few poor giveaways, but they've not been punished yet. And it remains goalless in this massive game at the top of the Premier League table. Manchester City on a run of 3 wins in a row in the Premier League, wanting to make it 4. Doku from the corner, they've played it short. To the edge of the box to Bernardo Silva. Across to Nunes. Back out wide left to Cherky. About 30 yards out. In swinger towards the box. Headed down by Gay just behind O'Reilly. O'Brien needs to get there and he just about does ahead of Doku. And it's going to be a throw-in for Manchester City midway inside the Everton half as they take it quickly. It's Cherky who will deliver the ball out towards the right side, controlled on the edge of the box by Semenyo, slightly isolated. He's been doubled up in here by Ndiaye Mikalenko. Finds the ball to the edge of the box to Bernardo Silva. It's then Cherky who will wrap the ball towards the top right corner. It's always going a little bit high, and it'll be a goal kick for Everton, for Jordan Pickford to take. 11 clean sheets this season for Jordan Pickford. 2 less than his opposite goalkeeper, Donnarumma, who's currently got 13. In his 30 Premier League appearances. Manchester City's first 3 Premier League games had James Trafford in goal, who's been more than a sufficient number 2 for Manchester City, brought in from Burnley for £31 million. Kept 7 clean sheets in all competitions. As the flag goes up on Everton's front line, we know Manchester City play a high line, and that can be exposed at times. But you've got to make sure you're timing your runs well, and you've got to stay away from the recovering defenders, because we know the likes of Kusnov and Nunes are full of pace. There's Doku on the far side, running around Roll. He's now got O'Brien to take on, and he tries to cut on the inside of him. He's gone down. Referee says no. Michael Oliver saying it was just a collision, nothing more. And Everton clear, but straight back to Kusnov, and it's Manchester City who have well and truly got themselves settled in this game with possession. Had 66% of it in their last Premier League game against Burnley, but were only able to score the 1 goal in the 5th minute as O'Reilly goes on a run, has to shift it to his left as he was closed down by Roll, and as he was closed down he was fouled, and the referee pulls it back for a free kick to Manchester City. In for a huge shout for Young Player of the Year in the Premier League, Nico O'Reilly, scoring 4 in his last 7 that he's played in the Premier League. He's got 9 in all competitions. Well and truly a part of England's setup, and looks like he will be on the plane to the World Cup this summer. City are in the centre circle with Kusnov. 5-yard pass to his left to Bernardo Silva. Now on the far side with Doku, found by Gay. Gay once more 5 yards in front of the halfway line. Goes to his right, short pass to Gonzalez. It's now to Nunes, who's just slightly tucked in from right back. And then finding Kusnov once more, who's making his 25th Premier League appearance since joining back in January 2025 as O'Reilly towards the corner flag. He's being followed by Irabunum. Goes back to Doku, can shift it away from Roll. It's now Gay, about 25 yards out. Works its way to Gonzalez, back out wide to Doku, who we know will want it on his right foot. Chops onto his right, then out to his left, into the box. Low ball goes in, it deflects off Roll. And that will be another corner for Manchester City on the far side. It's backs against the wall stuff for Everton early on as City take it short. Cherky finding Bernardo Silva, who took the original corner, to Kusanov. Out to the right side of the box to Semenyo. Tries to take on Roll, can't quite get away from the German. But he's got the ball back, Semenyo, inside to Bernardo Silva, edge of the area, thought about the shot, keeps it moving to Cherky, then out to the right to Kusanov, forward to Gonzalez on this near side, about 25 yards from goal, into Semenyo, back to Cherky, then back once more to Núñez, keeping it moving quickly here, Manchester City. Gonzalez, going across to Gay towards the left-hand side. O'Reilly. Laying it off for the number 11, Jeremy Doku. Scored twice this season in the Premier League. His last one away from home against Chelsea. In that 3-0 win at Stamford Bridge. O'Reilly. Everyone behind the ball for Everton. As it's with Núñez. As he looks out towards the Manchester City right side where Semenyo is isolated with Roll. And he completes a quick 1-2. Núñez just outside the box. Whips it in. Deflects back to him. Still with Núñez. Surrounded by blue shirts. And the last touch comes off Dewsbury Hall. And that's going to be a corner. This time on the near side for Manchester City. It's the first time they've got one on their right hand side. And the previous two have been taken quickly and short. This time Bernardo Silva's going to slow things down. And put an in-swinging ball in directly from the corner. Packing out the 6-yard area, Bernardo Silva in towards the near post. It's a header won by Mikalenko, the number 16. I've just realised I've not changed the lineups. I do apologise. That's the lineups from my last commentary. I do apologise. I have done the the ones for today. Yeah, there's Everton's, where Mikalenko is actually number 16, not number 19. Ball into the near post again. It's headed away this time, not for another corner, but back out to Bernardo Silva. Núñez to Cherky on this near side. Just over 12 minutes played. Cherky running towards goal, into the area. Slight stumble and can be cleared for Everton, but Haaland wins it back with the slide challenge. It's now Núñez who has it for Manchester City. And there's Manchester City's lineup. Do apologise. It's on the far side. It's Doku in the final third. Again, two men on him with O'Brien and Roll. Goes to Gay, who's just inside. Right-footed ball across the pitch here to Núñez. Then into the air of Haaland. Back to goal. Can he try and get the shot away on the angle? Can't quite shift it. And then he shoved Garner to the ground. And that's going to be a free kick to Everton. Good defending there from David Moyes' side, who are having to really concentrate in the opening 12.5 minutes. Just couldn't quite work his shot there, Erling Haaland, who has scored 6 in his previous 5 against Everton. 2 braces, both in 2-0 home wins. His only one away from the Etihad against Everton was back in March 2023. Despite heavy City possession, there's not exactly been a huge chance as of yet. As David Moyes has took on Manchester City 44 times in his managerial career, won 15. His last, though, was in October 2021 in a penalty shootout with West Ham in a League Cup fixture. He has lost his last 6 against Manchester City since August 2022. As Núñez can't quite trap the ball on the halfway line, goes under his boot, throwing on the halfway line for Everton on this near side. Will be taken by Vitaly Mikalenko, who's had his 1-year option of his contract extension activated by Everton to keep him until the end of next season. Making his 140th Premier League appearance tonight, Vitaly Mikalenko throws it towards Ndiaye. First touch off Núñez, and that's going to be another throw for Everton. Midway side, the Manchester City half. He knows he's got to be on it tonight. Matheus Núñez, one of the better wingers in the division. Iliman Ndiaye, 6 goals so far this season. Scored once against City, and that was away at the Etihad back in December 2024 in a 1-1 draw. The last 4 draws in this fixture have ended 1-1 since October 2016. So 14 and a half minutes in, Manchester City have already regained the ball back in from their own half, and they enter the Everton half on the far side with Doku. Down the line it goes to O'Reilly, who gets in front of Irabunum. Low ball into the area, just goes behind Erling Haaland, poked to on the penalty spot by Keane. And it's won back by Kusanov, who beats Beto to the ball. Doku drifting inside into a more central area, can't get away from Irabunum, deflects to O'Reilly. It's now with Cherki to Doku. Furthest wide is Gay in a left wing position near the number 15, and he plays it back inside to Cherki. O'Reilly, being closed down by Irabunum, plays the ball forward down this left channel for Gay. Cherki, O'Reilly, about midway inside the Everton half. Manchester City keeping the ball moving around, not wanting to get too frustrated early on, knowing the chances will arrive with patience. Everyone behind the ball for Everton. Gonzalez, who will lift the ball out towards the right-hand side, asking a lot of Semenyo who can keep it in, kicking it back towards his own half where it's been controlled by Nunes. It's now Bernardo Silva onto the halfway line here to Kusanov. Doku on this far side. Playing it through for O'Reilly, who gets away from Roll, pulls it back towards Erling Haaland. It's an important sliding challenge from Garner on the 6-yard line. And the ball, thankfully for Everton, trickles to Jordan Pickford. Just got in between Tarkowski and O'Reilly. Tarkowski and Roll there, O'Reilly, and stayed on side. Just couldn't quite find Erling Haaland with the pullback. But that was a little bit too easy for Manchester City to get in behind the Everton defence and into the 18-yard box. It is 7 defeats from 16 so far in 2026 for Everton, just the 5 wins. Their most recent one here at home to Chelsea, that 3-0 win. Won just 6 of their 17 home games here in the league at Hill Dickinson. 2 in their last 9 since late December. Doku, just outside the 18-yard box on that far side. Goes back 5 yards to Gay, then forward and out wide to O'Reilly. To Gay once more. Plenty of time on the ball hit for Mark Gay. Doku. Running at Roll. Doku. Cuts inside, then goes on the outside. Good feet from Doku, then gets the cross in. O'Reilly on the turn. Can he get the shots off? He's surrounded by Everton bodies. And one of them deflects the shot wide, and it's a corner again for the Blues. Michael Keane this time in the way. Signed a contract extension this week. Well, week just gone. Michael Keane. Been at the club now since 2017, and he might have some more defending to do. City goes short again from the corner, edge of the area. Kusanov out to the right side to Semenyo in the corner of the box. He's got Cherki on the inside, finds him. Can he find space for a shot? Ryan Cherki can, and it's right at Pickford. Punches it away. Still alive for Manchester City. Semenyo on the edge of the area. Tricky feet to get away from the defender, and he pulls it across, and no one's there to tap it home. How on earth has no one got on the end of that? It was the first run from Cherki which opened the first shot. That was saved. It dropped to Semenyo after a poor clearance from Dewsbury Hall. Got away from the challenger Garner and Roll, and then beat Michael Keane, and then pulled it across the 6-yard area. And I'm not sure how no one's got on the end of that. I'm not sure if it was meant to be a cross from Semenyo, but that's what it ended up being. And someone's got to be there to tap it home. O'Reilly and Gay were the closest, and City come again. Everton can't get out their own half here. O'Reilly stopped in his tracks by Irabunum, but the ball deflects to Gay. Now wide left to Doku. Again, just outside the 18-yard box. Here's Gay, 25 yards out, keeps it moving. 5 yards to his right to Gonzalez. Same way, same distance to Nunes. It's now with Semenyo. Can he beat Mykolenko? Nunes makes a run into the box. He's found him. Nunes tries to pull back, and this time it's Mykolenko with a sliding challenge, and it deflects into the hands of Pickford. Surviving is Everton. Just surviving. As Pickford rolls it out to Mykolenko at left back. He has to go back into Pickford, who lets it roll towards the 6-yard box. First time ball up into the sky, out to the right-hand side, controlled and brought down by O'Brien with the ball to Irabunum. Then out wide towards Roll, played behind the number 34, thrown on the halfway line for Manchester City. Taken by O'Reilly, and he throws it into his own half to Bernardo Silva. Just less than 20 minutes in, still 0-0 at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Doku pushed to the floor by O'Brien, and that'll be a free kick for Manchester City. Just one defeat in their last 21 Premier League games for Manchester City in that run, winning 14 and drawing 6. Couple of very frustrating draws within that run, more so the ones at home to Forest and away to West Ham, which would have had them right up there alongside Arsenal. It's over 20 minutes in, still Manchester City dominating the possession at Hill Dickinson Stadium. Gonzalez on the far side, working it to Cherky, using a bit more of a central position, but everyone's behind the ball for Everton. Núñez, the right back, playing it to his left to Gay. Furthest wide is Doku, and that's who he plays the ball to. And here is Jeremy Doku running at O'Brien. Doku onto his right foot, just inside the area now on the left-hand side. Goes on the outside, can work a cross in towards Haaland, over his head, and Semenyo on the volley. And over the bar it goes. Side-footed attempt from the Ghanaian, and he couldn't quite keep it underneath the crossbar. He's a threat. Doku constantly on that left-hand side. And the little dinked ball in just a little bit too high for Erling Haaland, who let it go over his head. And it was Semenyo who didn't quite catch that on the boot. Seemed like more of the ankle. And slightly frustrated, Pep Guardiola has to watch that sail over the crossbar. It stays 0-0 here between Everton and Manchester City. It's been all Pep Guardiola's side on the ball. 88% of the possession. Everton, which feels like their first sequences of passes. Mykolenko beyond the halfway line to Ndiaye in a more central area. Out wide left it goes to Dewsbury Hall, who's looking to try and keep the ball for Everton. Goes back to the halfway line to Mykolenko. It's now Garner to Keane, who's midway inside his own half hit. Across 10 yards to his centre-back partner Tarkowski. Out to the far side to O'Brien at right back. Kicks it off O'Reilly, throwing for Everton. Tarkowski finding Pickford just inside the 18-yard box. Haaland closing him down. Pickford clears it first time. High up towards Beto. Free header though in the end for Kusanov. Cut out by Irabunum on Gonzalez. Good sliding challenge from Silva. And it's now Cherky trying to slip it through for Haaland. Just slightly too far to his left. And it goes through for Jordan Pickford, who's in an all-orange kit tonight for Everton. Looking for his 99th Premier League clean sheet of his career. Jordan Pickford, he's never won or kept a clean sheet against Manchester City. The second most capped England goalkeeper at 82 caps with 41 clean sheets. 50% record for Jordan Pickford, who cannot be denied of his complete and utter brilliance for England. As Gay, loose pass, and it goes straight out of play for a throw-in for Everton on that far side, midway side the Manchester City half. Was looking for O'Reilly, but just couldn't quite find his England teammate. And it's Everton about 10 yards away from the halfway line with Michael Keane finding the ball to his near side to Mykolenko, being closed down by Semenyo. Last touch off the former Bournemouth man. And that'll be a throw-in for Everton just before the halfway line with Mykolenko. Keane sees a switch out to the right side to O'Brien. Brings it down and then plays it back into Tarkowski, who will clip it forward himself, looking to challenge Kusanov as Beto brings it down. But there's a shove in the back of Kusanov, and that's going to be a free kick that goes against Everton. City won the away fixture last season against Everton 2-0. 2 late goals as well, and O'Reilly was one of the scorers who looks to try to be fed through in the box by Doku. Slightly overhit, and it's a goal kick. Yeah, O'Reilly scored in the 84th minute, and then Kovacic wrapped it up in the 92nd minute. That's the Croatian. Mateo Kovacic is on the bench for Manchester City. Missed about 5 months of action, out with an ankle problem between November and March. Played 58 minutes against Southampton in the FA Cup semi-final. His return to the Premier League came against Chelsea away. His only other Premier League appearance, bar Chelsea away, was in fact the Everton home game back in the middle of October. Pickford goal kick, less than 25 played, still 0-0. O'Reilly wins the header into more central areas. Gonzalez tries to poke it to Núñez, in drops to Ndiaye instead. Dewsbury Hall with an early strike, and it's a block from Kusanov. sliding across. Donnarumma may have had it covered, but the Uzbekistan international was taking no chances as Gonzalez in the middle of his own half, giving the ball away sloppily, trying too much of an intricate touch. And in the end, the shot towards goal, well blocked by Kusanov. It's a first chance for Everton. 25 minutes in, it's their first shot of the game, and it's the first chance they can really put pressure on this Manchester City defence. And it'll be James Garner to take it, formerly of Manchester United for 13 years, made 7 senior appearances for the club, but now he's Everton's and he's going to be with them until 2030 after his recent contract extension. It's an in-swinger into the area. It's headed towards goal by Keane. Can't quite find a shot towards goal and eventually cleared by Manchester City. But got the first contact there, Michael Keane, who hasn't scored since a 1-1 draw here at home to Wolves back on the 7th of January, a game he also got sent off in for the hair pull on Tolu Arokadare. Of course, that's very much a very present problem in the Premier League in the moment, or in football in general, the hair pulling. Long throw from the far side. It's a free header for O'Reilly on the near post. Drops to the edge of the box to Rubunum. Heads it back into the area. Headed out by Gonzalez. Put back in by Garner as he tackles Cherky. It actually deflects out towards the corner flag, and it'll be a throw-in for Manchester City in their defensive third. Nunes being forced to take a couple of steps back by Michael Oliver to take the throw-in. Throw-in header won by Mikalenko. Heads it inside to Roll. Back out wide left to Dewsbury Hall, who is tackled by Cherky. Loose ball drops to Nunes, who swivels and clears. It's not convincing. It's Iribunum to head forward to Beto, who wins the second header, but straight to Haaland, who's just dropped slightly deeper to try and get a touch on the ball, and he works it to the far side to Doc, who relaxes play, and it's to Bernardo Silva on the edge of the 18-yard box. Of course, leaving at the end of the season, Bernardo Silva, tonight making his 300th Premier League appearance. He's now 8th in the all-time appearance makers list for Manchester City, now on 455. Scoring 76 goals, 3 of them this season. 2 in the Premier League, both away to West Ham and Liverpool as he strides forward with the ball into the Everton half, out to the left to O'Reilly. Tries to shift it to Doku, sliding, challenging Garner, City throw. On the left-hand side for Manchester City. Thrown back 10 yards to Gay. Then back out wide to Doku in the final third. Always looking lively, trying on the outside of Roll. Shimmies, keeps it away from the number 34 and goes back into Gay on the edge of the area. Gonzalez spins away from Dewsbury Hall and works it to Kusanov, who's just in front of the centre circle. He's going to go for a long ranger. I have no idea what Abdul Kadir Kusanov is trying there. He's only scored once in his Manchester City career, and that came on his debut. He didn't know too much about it. It was a shot from Rico Lewis against Leyton Orient away in the FA Cup, and Kusanov was in the way, but he deflected it beyond the goalkeeper and in. Of course, goal difference will be a huge factor at the end of the season in this title race, but for Manchester City at the moment, their main focus has got to be just guaranteeing themselves 3 points. And they've not really troubled Pickford too much. They've had a Semenyo shot, a Cherky shot, which stung the gloves of Jordan Pickford. It's Kusanov, skips beyond one challenge, and a second. It's now Haaland out to the left to O'Reilly, just inside his own half here. The number 33 goes in towards the centre circle to Bernardo Silva. Finds his central midfield partner of Nico Gonzalez. Now this near side to Cherky, 5 yards inside the Everton half. Going back to Nunes and then across to the number 45, Kusanov, who's the first ever Uzbekistan international to play in the Premier League. As he's been caught there, Kusanov, as he played the ball to Gay, seems to have been hurt there by the Everton number 9. And Everton will have to stop defending for now because City have kicked the ball out. As Kusanov was just caught on his foot there, and you can see his boot just slightly slipping off due to the contact. Didn't like the challenge. Just took a bit long to release it, Kusanov, but as he did, he was just stood on by Beto. Didn't look too malicious, in fairness. Not sure why Kuznov has to go down the way he did with the rolling and the... And I don't know, yeah, and the bouncing around, the hopping. I'm not buying that. It looks like he'll be fine. He's running on it once more as City have been given the ball back from Everton after they kicked it out themselves to see if Kuznov needed any extra support, as Pickford's getting his left arm properly strapped up just next to his goal. Does have time to do that as City just have it just in front of their 18-yard box. Half an hour gone, still 0-0. In between the lines by Kuznov, can't find Núñez. It's a risky ball and it's not come off. It's Ndiaye for Everton. One of their tricky players. Down the left-hand side here, Bernardo Silva can't tackle him. He plays it to Dewsbury Hall. Deflects back towards Ndiaye, who then can't find the ball. Back through to Dewsbury Hall, cleared for City. As far as Michael Keane. It's on this near side with Mikalenko, midway side of City half. Pass deflects off Semenyo. Throwing for Everton. Won by their Ukrainian left-back, Mikalenko, who's making his 8th start in a row in the Premier League for the Toffees. Ndiaye. Mikalenko. Can't quite keep it in, and that's a throw-in this time now for Manchester City to be taken by Matheus Núñez. Making his 110th Premier League appearance. I don't believe that's right for Núñez. I think I've got that wrong. He's played 116 times for Manchester City. 110 in the Premier League he's now played, Matheus Núñez, which is right. I thought I got that wrong. No, that's right. 75th, though, in the league for Manchester City after joining in 2023 for £53 million. As Everton played down the right channel and Marlon Roll's been found. Merlin Roll in the area. He's got Beto free in the box. He plays it across. It's an important touch from Donnarumma. Still alive. Beto with the shot. And Kuznov can block. That's a key glove from Gianluigi Donnarumma. It's that high line that's been exposed. It was a ball down the right channel and Merlin Roll got ahead and around Gate. And he played it across the 6-yard area. And what a touch that is from Donnarumma. Just put it behind Beto, who would have easily tapped it in if he hadn't had that touch. And then Beto tried to put it back across goal and it was blocked by Kuznov. But it's a promising run down the right channel there by Merlin Roll. Almost assisting a Beto goal. So for 32 minutes played, corner for Everton. It's a deep one to the far post. Header won by O'Reilly. Oh, Kuznov not happy with Tarkowski. Tarkowski smiling and laughing. Kuznov just seeming a little bit emotional here. Needs to calm himself, the 22-year-old. Michael Oliver's going to have some words here with both. Bernardo Silva telling Kuznov to relax and focus on the game. John Stones and Nathan Ake are both options for Manchester City at centre-half. Just a grab of the shirt there from Tarkowski, and he just didn't let go. He knows what he's doing, the Everton number 6 and the captain. He knows exactly what he's doing. Had a hole of Kuznov's shirt and just wasn't letting go once the ball had already gone. As City break away with it. Erling Haaland to Cherky. Just gets beyond the halfway line. Semenyo's free to his right. He finds him. Here's Antoine Semenyo into the final third. Around the outside of Mikalenko. Then chops back. Semenyo into the area. Still with him. Lays off to Cherky just outside the box. Across to Gate. Doku's free on the left. Finds him in the corner of the box on the left-hand side. Chops in onto his right foot. Doku with the slip. And the shot's blocked by Irabunum. And it drops for Kuznov just in front of the halfway line. Out to the left to Gay. Gonzalez. Cherky to Núñez just in front of the halfway line. Wraps it out to the right side to Bernardo Silva. Running forward with the ball. Playing it inside to Cherky. He's got a couple of options to his right. Bernardo Silva stayed out wide. Still with Cherky. There is Bernardo Silva. Trying to lift it in towards Núñez. The ball's deflecting around. There's a body on the floor for City, and that's Núñez. Nothing given, and then Gonzalez pulls down Beto. That's going to be a free kick for Everton. 10 minutes to go till half-time. Still goalless. Bit of pulling and shoving afterwards from Haaland and Tarkowski, and it ends in a handshake and a few giggles. So an Everton free kick, about midway side their own half. It's going to be actually taken here by Jordan Pickford. Signed a contract extension back end of last year till 2029. Everton's number one. And he's going to take this long, Jordan Pickford. Slamming it out towards the right-hand side. It's a high one. It's towards O'Brien. Header won by Gay. Throwing on the far side for Everton. Midway side, the Manchester City half. But Everton have been conceding goals recently. They've conceded a minimum of 2 in their last 7 Premier League games, winning 3 of them, drawing 1 and losing the other 3. Just 1 win in their last 5 in the Premier League. Their best run this season was when they won 4 in 5 between November and December. As Dewsbury Hall can't quite find the ball down the left channel. It's out of play throwing for Manchester City. He was looking for Iliman Ndiaye. Gay. It's now Nico Gonzalez, City's number 14, former Spanish under-21 international, came through Barcelona for 10 years and he steams forward. He finds Cherki on the right side. Semenyo Gonzalez has continued his run. Semenyo chops back instead to keep it with Nunes. Midway side the Everton half. Forward to Gonzalez. Then out wide to Semenyo. 1-on-1 with Mikalenko. Nunes with that run forward again. He's been fouled towards the byline. Cross comes off Garner. Corner for City on this near side. They found success a couple of times with that run from Nunes from right back. Cherki thought about taking it quickly, but the option was never really there, and he's going to leave it for the captain, Bernardo Silva, to take. 50 Premier League assists in his career. Forced Manchester City's little magician. As it's an in-swinger towards the back post, it's Pickford to palming away. All as far as Cherki on the edge of the box. Trying to get around Dewsbury Hall, poked away from him. All as far as Nunes. He recycles it back out towards the right side to Bernardo Silva. It's a short ball. Cut out by Ndiaye. And that'll be a throw-in for Manchester City, who look to try and break the deadlock here. They're being frustrated so far. Only losing 2 of their last 28 against Everton, Manchester City. And those 2 defeats came back in January 2016 and 2017. And that's a run since October 2013. Cherki. Forward in between the lines for Bernardo Silva. Returns it to Cherki. Loses the 50-50 to Irabunum on this near side for Everton. Trying to shield the ball. He's got no options around him and he's been swarmed and he's been pickpocketed by Nunes. Gonzalez back into the City half of Kuznov. To the near side on the halfway line to Nunes. Thought about playing it forward. Gonzalez. Nunes. Now into Kuznov. Gay beyond the halfway line for Manchester City. Working the ball to Doku. Drives inside away from Roll. Then clipped from behind. The referee says no, we won the ball fairly. Then Gonzalez can't get across to win the ball back, but Kuznov can on halfway against Beto. And City can try and restart. It's Nunes who couldn't go back to his goalkeeper, so instead plays a long ball forward and it's nowhere near Erling Haaland. And it bounces through to Pickford, who can then play it calmly to his right 10 yards to captain Tarkowski, who has never beat Manchester City in his career. He's played them 19 times, lost 17. Pickford, who's got the ball in his 18-yard area, will clip it out towards the left-hand side to Mikalenko, wins the header on Nunes. The loose ball drops to Kuznov as no one in blue can get anywhere near the ball for Everton at the moment. O'Reilly out to Doku in the final third, running at O'Brien. Doku goes on the outside towards the byline, pulls it across. Cherki with the shot and fires it over. About 12 yards out, got right underneath it there, Ryan Cherki. On his left foot. Every well-built opportunity for Manchester City is coming from that left-hand side and Jeremy Doku. Ryan Cherki couldn't find the net for his 5th Premier League goal. His last 2 goals have come against both of the North London teams in this division, Arsenal at home and Spurs away. He's got 10 assists as well this season in the Premier League, Ryan Cherki, alongside 10 goals in all competitions. Long kick forward for Everton, headed on by O'Brien in the Manchester City half, volleyed by Bernardo Silva to the halfway line. Semenyo takes it down beautifully and gets away from Mykolenko. Having to go forward with the ball, he's slightly isolated, gets away from 2 Everton players, then a third with a ball to Cherki. Keeps it away from Mykolenko. Cherki in the area, onto his left foot. Laying it across towards Gonzalez, it's slightly loose. Does fall through to Gay. Gonzalez midway inside the Everton half. The attack just slightly dies of its momentum, but it's still with the Blues. Bernardo Silva on the far side. Less than 5 minutes to play of the first half at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Gay, furthest left is O'Reilly, who's on the ball. Inside to Cherki, then back to Gay. Forward to Cherki. Then into the gap for O'Reilly in the area. Tries to pull back, it comes off Garner, and then back off O'Reilly. And that'll be a goal kick for Everton. Well defended there by James Garner, who picked up his first 2 England caps in the March international break. A potential wild card for Thomas Tuchel to take to the World Cup. As David Moyes watches on, took charge of his 750th Premier League game last time out against his former club West Ham. As Ndiaye tries to flick it back through for Beto in the box, cleared for Manchester City. Up in the air as James Garner tries to head forward, helped on by Dewsbury Hall. Out to the City right where Gonzalez gets there first. He's knocked to the ground by Beto. And there'll be a throw in for City as Beto got the last touch. Nunes to Cherki. Finds Gonzalez. Nunes trying to switch it out towards O'Reilly. That's a fantastic ball. O'Reilly takes it away from the halfway line. He's got Doku out to his left and he finds Jeremy Doku. O'Reilly continues his run. Doku cuts inside the space out to the right side. It's a dummy from Semenyo. Cherki in the area. Pulls it back. Doku with the fake shot. Can't get it under control. Gonzalez keeps it alive. Doku in the box. Semenyo can't quite find Haaland. Goes back to Bernardo Silva. Clips it out to the right side once more to Cherki. Controls it. Cherki pulls it back. Doku left-footed, and what a strike that is! The man who's been on fire down that left-hand side finally gets his reward. And Jeremy Doku scores his 3rd league goal of the season. And what a time to produce a finish like that. He is so known for using his right foot, but that time his weaker left foot comes up trumps on Manchester City. The gap back down to 3. And Manchester City lead at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. They've had to be patient all half, but especially in that passage of play. Doku just inside the area towards the right-hand side of the box. Cut onto his left foot. And wrapped it to that far corner. Pickford with no chance. Into the top left corner it goes. And Pep Guardiola is absolutely delighted as his team lead. It's Everton 0, Manchester City 1. Jeremy Doku with the goal. That's his 20th Manchester City goal of his career. And he has been the man who has set this game alight so far. Linking up well with O'Reilly. But that time, it was all down to the Belgians' skill and quality. Long ball forward for Everton. It breaks for O'Brien as he battles with O'Reilly. And then O'Reilly gets the tackle in towards the corner flag on the left-hand side. Shielding the ball here. O'Reilly trying to flick it. Comes off O'Brien to roll. Who then plays it back through for O'Brien. Tries the back heel to find Tarkovsky. Cut out by Doku. And then the assistant referees put a flag up, I think, for an offside. And it's a Manchester City free kick towards their left-back position with less than a minute of the first 45 to play. So the goal difference is 3 difference. But that's due to Arsenal conceding 3 less. I think they've both scored 67 goals now. Arsenal and Manchester City. It's just that Arsenal have conceded 3 goals less. Amazing goal. It certainly was by Jeremy Doku. who might be away here on the left-hand side. It's a huge challenge from Keane, and he's not won the ball, according to Michael Oliver, and that'll be a yellow card. Bernardo Silva cannot believe it's not a red. Doku holding his right leg. We'll have to get a replay on that. Michael Keane with a late one. Let's have a look. He has to come across because Doku's away. If not, I think he's just about got away with that one there, Michael Keane, in terms of a potential red. I think if the boot's any higher, and then I think VAR comes calling, doesn't mean it's not a bad challenge. It is. He's late and he's caught Doku. How high does he catch him? The right foot comes in. It's just right across the boot. I think he slightly nicks the top of his leg, just with a bit of a follow-through. But certainly, I think the yellow card's the right decision. But not too far off a red there for Michael Keane. He's already been sent off twice in his Everton career. Already once this season at home to Wolves for that hair pull on a Rockadare. So Doku, the goal scorer, is still down. Personally, I do think it's a yellow card. It's certainly a strong yellow card. You know, we're borderline towards that red card look. Just don't quite think it's high enough for a red card, but needs to be careful now, Michael Keane, who alongside a lot of these Everton players have never beaten Manchester City in their career. Two minutes added on. We've played a minute and a half of it already, but I'm sure we'll play a little bit extra due to this stoppage because of Jeremy Doku requiring a little bit of treatment. He is to his feet, the Belgian, and looks like he'll be fine to continue. So Doku's been told to stay on the touchline. He doesn't actually have to stay off, Jeremy Doku. If the person who fouls them is yellow carded, obviously a law Michael Oliver doesn't know. So Doku's having to stay off the pitch. But it's a free kick for Manchester City on that far left-hand side, about 18 yards from goal. In it goes towards Gay, who wins the header, comes off Beto's head the second time. Has Pickford avoided the corner kick? He has. And it's now with Pickford, who's trying to release it as quickly as possible. Throws it out to the left-hand side to Mikalenko, who can control it on the halfway line. Chopped away from Semenyo. Then plays it into the middle here for Garner. Helps it on once more to Irabunum on the halfway line. Doku's back on. O'Brien doesn't see him. And he nicks the ball away from him. Here's Doku with the ball in a central area. Just in front of the centre circle. Irabunum with two big challenges. And it drops towards Semenyo, who meets Irabunum. But the half-time whistle, I think, is blown by Michael Oliver. And that'll be half-time in this game. Some feisty challenges going in towards the end, but it's Manchester City who are the ones laughing down the tunnel for half-time as they lead this game at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. It's been all Manchester City with the possession, 77% of it, having 11 shots and 2 on target, but the main effort from Jeremy Doku in the 43rd minute separates the two sides. He got the ball just inside the 18-yard box, slightly towards the right-hand side. He had to chop in onto his left foot, which is his weaker foot, but my word, did he make that work. He curled it towards the top left corner, beyond Pickford, who was helpless. It gives Manchester City a lead as they're at half-time at Hill Dickinson Stadium. It's Everton 0, Manchester City 1. And what a terrific goal by Jeremy Doku. They had to work for it, but they've got their reward for their possession. And City lead and close the gap back down to 3 points on Arsenal. Of course, with a game in hand, which they will play against Crystal Palace next Wednesday on the 13th. They'll also have another game in hand on Arsenal because City play in the FA Cup final on the 16th. Then they play that game that they were meant to play on the 16th on the 19th, which is away at Bournemouth. So it's a big end to the season for Manchester City. This will be a huge 3 points. They currently have the 3 points at half-time as both managers will have things to work on. I think for David Moyes, it's more trying to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. I think for Manchester City, it's just taking those chances when they get the shots, making sure they're on target, working Pickford. Can they pick up on deflections? Just little basic stuff like that. But at the moment, it's 1-0 to Manchester City. And I'm going to have a quick break for half-time, so I'll be back in around 15 minutes. But make sure you're back for second half live commentary as here at the moment at Hill Dickinson Stadium. It's a Jeremy Doku goal in the 43rd minute, which currently separates the two sides. Left-footed, top left corner. City lead. It's Everton 0, Manchester City 1. Oh, and we are back for the second half as Manchester City currently lead by 1-0 at Hill Dickinson Stadium. The first time they've played here, and they're leading by 1-0. Jeremy Doku in the 43rd minute with a well-placed strike into the top left corner. Just his third league goal of the season, but he was the one who was making everything. He was the one who was making everything happen for Manchester City as they kick off, kicking right to left. Everton left to right. Header away by Mikalenko as a ball forward from City isn't well dealt with. Cherki takes it over towards the byline. Still with Cherki. Can he force a corner? Yes, he can. Last touch off Mikalenko. And 13 seconds into the second half, Manchester City have a set piece. And it is right in front of their away supporters who are just in that corner of the ground to the right-hand side. Taking short to the edge of the area to Nunes. Relays it into Bernardo Silva. Across out to the left now to Kusanov. Out to the right to Nunes. It's with Cherki on the far side, down that right channel. Keeping away from Ndiaye. Bernardo Silva, 25 yards out, will strike it. Deflects in the box to O'Reilly, who strikes it, and it's a bit of a timid effort in the end. Doesn't quite catch it with his weaker right foot, and it will trickle through to Jordan Pickford. Nico O'Reilly looking for his 6th Premier League goal. He scored 4 in his last 7 that he's played. Looking to hit double figures for the season in all competitions. Not quite, though, for Manchester City's number 33 as Ndiaye loses out the physical battle to Mateus Nunes, and it's a throw in for Manchester City taken, and it's thrown to the halfway line to Haaland. 1-2 with Cherki, then out wide right looking for Semenyo, cut out by Mikalenko, and it's Everton with the ball in their 18-yard box with Jordan Pickford. Kept his 100th clean sheet for Everton in that most recent win at home to Chelsea. They have lost 3 of their last 5 here, though, Everton, against Liverpool, Manchester United, and then Bournemouth. Dewsbury Hall finds the ball in the centre circle, then works it out wide to the left-hand side. He's got Ndiaye with him, and then Beto through down the middle. Beto in the area. Can he shoot? No, he can't. Stop by Gay. Brilliant challenge from the City centre-half. Still with Everton towards the halfway line with Tarkowski in front of the centre circle with Garner. That was a half opening there for Everton, almost took advantage of by Beto, but Gay slammed the door and said no. Keane on the halfway line with the ball, going across 15 yards to his centre-back partner Tarkowski. Relaying it into Keane on the yellow card after a late challenge before the break on Doku. Mikalenko down the left channel, looking for Beto. Can he control it? He can in the area, tries to get the left-footed shot off. Cannons off Gay, but the flag's up for offside, and it's a free kick for Manchester City, who had a poor start to the month of March, which just slightly held them up in the Premier League, just winning 1 from 5 in all competitions. But that did include the draws to Forest and West Ham, and it was what ultimately slowed them down in this title race. His gaze caught late by Beto as he released it, and that's going to be a yellow card and a free kick for Manchester City. Poor challenge that from Beto, who's looking for his 25th Everton goal of his career. The ball had already gone, then he went in for the challenge. It's naughty that from Beto, knows what he's doing. And Manchester City have possession just inside their own half as they enter the centre circle with Bernardo Silva, who finds it out to the right side to Semenyo, who can bring it down. Brilliant touch. Semenyo with Mikalenko trying to tackle him. Pokes it back to Cherki. Can he get around Ndiaye? He can, and finds Semenyo tackled in the box. Referee points to the ball, and it's Everton in left back position with it. Ndiaye. Semenyo's down, holding his head. So play is stopped for now. If he was caught in the head there, Antoine Semenyo, it was more unlikely to be accidental. Cherki had it outside the area, it deflected to Semenyo, who's, he was tackled fairly, but as he's gone down, he's just been struck in the side of the head by Mikalenko's, I think maybe thigh, as they've both gone tumbling down. That will be a slightly painful one there for Antoine Semenyo, who scored 8 goals for Manchester City since joining in January, 5 of them in the Premier League. He's not scored in any of his last 4, though, in the league. Antoine Semenyo, he's on 18 for the season. including his 10 in 20 in the Premier League for Bournemouth in the first half of the campaign. And there is John Stones on the bench, formerly of Everton. Contract expires at Manchester City at the end of the season, and he already announced he's leaving after 10 years at the club. Could there be a potential reunion back to Everton for John Stones? So Antoine Semenyo still receives some treatment as he's just struggling with his neck after that collision with Vitaly Mykolenko, of course. Couple of options for Manchester City on the bench, the likes of Phil Foden and Savinho, even Omar Marmoush as well. But that Jeremy Doku strike, left-footed, wrapped it, top corner. Unbelievable strike from Jeremy Doku, who scores his 6th goal of the season in all competitions. He scored 8 last season in all competitions, including his 2 during the Club World Cup. So Semenyo's back on his feet, just walking off the side of the pitch for now. Just trying to ease up the stiffness in his neck. As with 6 minutes into the second half, still Everton 0, Manchester City 1. Everton have it 5 yards before the halfway line, into the City half on the far side with Mykolenko. City down to 10 as it stands, as Semenyo still waiting to be waved back onto the pitch. Tarkowski in the centre circle, trying to dink it over the top towards Dewsbury Hall. Headed down by Nunes for Gonzalez. First time pass forward to Cherky. Tries to go back towards Gay. Just about beats Beto to it, but the loose ball drops to Dewsbury Hall. 25 yards out, he strikes. And it's wide and it's high and it's a goal kick for Manchester City. He apologises there, Dewsbury Hall, who's got 8 league goals in his opening season for Everton. Scored 5 in the entirety of last season in all competitions for Chelsea. This is his 100th appearance, so in the Premier League in his career for Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. He's got a combined goal contribution tally of 20 with 11 goals and 9 assists. O'Reilly for Manchester City. Haaland with the ball. Semenyo is back on as this is with Doku on this near side. Back through towards Haaland, who's tripped by Tarkowski, and both centre-halves are on a yellow. Michael Oliver whistles and gets the card out. Tarkowski not happy. I'm not a lip reader, but I can gather what he's saying there. Ball was played through. He just runs across the back of Haaland, which clips the heels and sends him to the ground. And it's a yellow card for James Tarkowski. Never been sent off in the Premier League. The former Burnley centre-half, his last red card in his career was all the way back in September 2015 for Tarkowski. For Brentford in the 2-1 home defeat to Sheffield Wednesday, as the free kick takers short outs this near side to Doku, the goal scorer, onto his right foot in the corner of the box, clips it to the far post and no one attacks it. And it goes all the way through for a goal kick, just went over the head of Gay. Semenyo was too late on the scene, and 8 minutes into the second half, it's Everton 0, Manchester City 1. And Everton are going to go long with the goal kick via Jordan Pickford. Fires it forward, midway inside the City half. Is header won by Gay. Cherky attempted the flick, deflects back towards the City defence where Gay heads it forward. It's loose and eventually drops to Bernardo Silva over the top and in behind for Doku, who won't be keen to it. In the defensive third for Everton, he clears it down the right channel beyond the halfway line. Headed inside by O'Reilly to Gonzalez, who tries to release it. Eventually goes back to Kusanov, then forward to the halfway line to Cherky. Turning away from Irabunum. Semenyo. Keeping it simple, going back into his own half here to Nunes. City have now got something to defend, but they want to add to it if they can. Just got one more away game in the Premier League this season, Manchester City after tonight, and that's at Bournemouth in 2 weeks' time. They've got 2 games away from the Etihad, of course, with that game in the FA Cup final at Wembley. As the ball forward towards Semenyo goes behind him and he slips, and it goes out for Everton throwing midway inside their own half with Mykolenko. taking his time with the throw in, the number 16 for the Toffees. Throws it to the halfway line, beyond the halfway line with Beto chasing. Kusanov gets there first, back towards Donnarumma as Beto chases. Donnarumma goes to his left to O'Reilly. O'Reilly facing his own goal, laying it off to Gay, who can go with a low ball down the left channel, and he's asking a lot of Doku, who won't get there, thrown for Everton. O'Brien wants to take it quickly, and he'll find Roll. Back to the halfway line to Tarkowski. Quick 1-2 with Garner. Tarkowski sees a switch out to the left-hand side. He tries to look for Mikalenko, finds him, controls it well, takes the touch away from Nunes and keeps it for Everton, then plays it forward to Ndiaye. One-on-one with Nunes. Ndiaye onto his right foot, try to play a ball through. Good tackle from Gonzalez, but it's won back by Garner, who gets there at a Turkey, then looks for Mikalenko down the left-hand side. Misplaced pass. Throwing for Manchester City, who've scored just 9 in their last 5 Premier League games. Most of them in that 3-0 away win against Chelsea. 2 very important ones at home to Arsenal in that win at the Etihad Stadium, as Doku tries to feed it through to O'Reilly on the edge of the box, dealt with by Tarkowski, who is then brought to the ground in a right back position. That'll be a free kick for Everton. Smartly won there by James Tarkowski, who had made 111 successive Premier League starts from May 22 to April 25. He suffered a hamstring injury at the back end of last season. Scored the 1 goal this season, and that was against his former club Burnley at the start of March. His only goal last season was that 98th minute equaliser in the last Merseyside derby at Goodison back in the middle of February. O'Brien flicks on the header down the Everton right. O'Reilly gets there first and clears. Will reach Doku's touch is loose, and that'll be a throw-in for Everton midway inside the City half on this near side. Jake O'Brien wanting to take it quickly, the Cork-born fullback. And he throws it all the way back, just inside his own half to Tarkowski. 15-yard pass across to his left to Keane. Now to the far side to Mikalenko. Dinked ball looking for Dewsbury Hall, who will get there ahead of Kusanov. Both battling, and Dewsbury Hall gets the better of the centre-back, but then on the recovery, he gets around the side of him and puts a great tackle in Kusanov, and it's now with Haaland to break away. Can't be stopped by Irabunum or Garner. Still with Haaland. Releases to Doku on the left-hand side, just outside the area. Trying to play a ball forward. Has to slow it down and played into the middle of the park here to Gonzalez. Brilliant forward play from Haaland to shrug off the multiple attempts to try and get the ball off him. Doku. Back into Gay. Gonzalez, everyone behind the ball for Everton. Furthest right is Semenyo. He's got everything to his left, and he's facing up Mikalenko on that right-hand side. Cuts inside, slightly shoved, but can keep the ball under his spell. Semenyo then can't get around Ndiaye, who will try and get the ball out for a goal kick, and he won't. It's kept in by Semenyo, then poked into the space for Nunes, but covering is Keane, who can clear to the halfway line. All as far as Kusanov, who now has it on the halfway line for Manchester City. Lays it off to the number 20 of Bernardo Silva, who tries to go out wide to Cherky. Tired ball that from Bernardo Silva, misplaced, and that'll be a throw for Everton on that far side. Everton have it in their 6-yard area with Pickford. Looks to play it out to the right side. He works it to Tarkowski in the 18-yard area. Lifted ball up to the halfway line. Nowhere near Beto. Free header for Gay. Helped on by Gonzalez towards Nunes. Forward to Gonzalez. Turns away from Irabunum. That's a brilliant turn. And then releases it to Haaland. Once more to Cherky. Doku's free to the left. Here is Doku in the final third. Just outside the 18-yard area. Back inside 10 yards to Cherky. Doku still free, so it's Bernardo Silva. And here is the captain, Bernardo Silva. Doku to Cherky. Slowing it down here, Manchester City. They know how key a second goal would be in this game. Because goal difference will play a part this season. I'm sure of it. Gay bringing it forward from centre-back, just outside the area. Low ball in. Bernardo Silva back to goal. Lays it off to the edge of the box here to Cherky. Onto his right foot. Tackle by Garner. Good tackle. Now with Dewsbury Hall, he's pulled back by Gonzalez, but advantage is played. Ndiaye to Beto. in the centre circle to Ndiaye once more. Rolls making a run off to his left. Ndiaye keeps it, still with the number 10. Ndiaye, who will make the shot, and it's saved by Donnarumma and cleared by Bernardo Silva. When he's been called upon tonight, Gianluigi Donnarumma, he's been equal to what's faced him. Wasn't the most powerful strike from Iliman Ndiaye, but Donnarumma was equal to it, diving low to his right. Long throw into the box, last touch off Gay, and it's a corner for Everton. Michael Keane was going for it, but Mark Gay got there ahead of him, but concedes the corner. Bit of pull in, bit of shove in, but Gay got there in front of his man. Less than half an hour to go here at Hill Dickinson. It's an in-swinger. To the near post, Donnarumma meets it with the punch. Back out to the Everton left. It's Doku, those chasing. Irabunen with the last touch, and that's a throw-in for Everton. Must have come off Doku last. Everton wanted to take it quickly, but the throw-in was taken a bit too far forward for Michael Oliver's liking. Donnarumma in that full pink kit with the light blue stripe down the left side of the shirt. As Everton are going to look to make a change at some point soon, with Tierno Barry being readied. It's going to be a thrown from the far side into the 18-yard box. It's a long one from Mikalenko. It's ballooned up in the sky. Glanced on by Keane. Helped on by Tarkovsky. Off roll, who can't control. Shouts of a handball. Referee unmoved. And then City can break. Ball down the left. Doku on the halfway line. Surrounded by 3 blue shirts. Bodied and brought to the ground by Dewsbury Hall. And it's a free kick for Manchester City. Well won by the current match winner, Jeremy Doku. Moyes' last win against Manchester City within normal time was a 2-0 win for Everton at Goodison back in March 2013. 19 games ago in this fixture. Osman with a first half strike, and then Jelavic to seal it in the 3rd minute of added on time. At the minute, it's Manchester City who are in front with Kusanov to this near side to Doku, 5 yards inside the Everton half. Forced to go back to Gay. Middle of the pitch, Kusanov. Forward to Bernardo Silva. Finds Haaland, who's dropped in on the halfway line. Lays it off first time to Gonzalez. Out wide right to Cherki on the halfway line. Tempo just slightly dipped here for Manchester City. It is important they continue to look to get the second goal, but obviously have to be wary of not conceding a first to get this game at 1-1. 63 minutes in, Everton 0, Manchester City 1. Doku with the goal in the 43rd minute. Semenyo. Going around the outside of Mikalenko, he goes down, referee doesn't give the foul, and then Mikalenko fouled himself by Semenyo next to the corner flag. It's a free kick for Everton. The home side wanting to make a change. And it will come now. Beto, who missed their last game against West Ham due to concussion protocol, comes off. He had scored 4 in his previous 3. And he'll be replaced by Tierno Barry. Had a big chance in the first half, Beto. I say he had a big chance. It was taken off his toes by Donnarumma after a pullback at 0-0. By Merlin Roll on the counter-attack. So it's a like-for-like change. Beto off for Barry. Barry has featured in every game this season for Everton in all competitions. Long ball for Everton. Headed on by Barry towards Ndiaye, who gets in between Núñez and Gay. Dives in. 1-on-1. Donnarumma, what a save. Ndiaye has to score. But what a save that is. Poor defending from Núñez and Gay, and Ndiaye nicked in front of them both, and then 10 yards out in the area, tried to open up the body to place it into the far corner. But he's simply not been precise enough. Donnarumma guessed the right way and landed on the ball and held it and avoids losing his clean sheet for the day. What a chance for Iliman Ndiaye. And it's another chance for Everton not taken. Núñez on the far side, forward to the halfway line to Semenyo. Got Cherki inside and finds him. Then back into Núñez. Gonzalez into the centre circle. Doku's free to the left and he's been found. Here is Doku. Not loads of options in front of him. Goes back inside to Gonzalez. Doku. Now into Gay. Bernardo Silva, who is tackled fairly by Barry. It's Dewsbury Hall who sees Donnarumma off his line. He'll go for it. And that's a little bit too wide, that, from Dewsbury Hall. Got the confidence to go for it on his 100th Premier League appearance. Just didn't quite have the ability to pull it off. It's a good save, that, from Donnarumma. Guessing right. Maybe telegraphed it a little bit too much there in Ndiaye, the strike. It's now Bernardo Silva in the centre circle. Out to the left to O'Reilly. Can they get an overload? No, they can't. Doesn't play it out to Doku, who's frustrated. It's in the middle of the park, O'Reilly. Finds Cherki. Gay. Doku in the final third. Finds Cherki 5 yards to his right. O'Reilly. Back out wide to Doku. It's now with Cherki once more. Goes into the centre circle here with Kusanov. Now on the near side with Doku. O'Reilly making a run forward into the area. Had to be found and he wasn't. Doku's held on to the ball. Into the middle to Gonzalez. Forward to Cherki. Kusanov. Gets away from Barry. Kusanov to Cherki on the edge of the area. Can't get away from Keane. Loose ball drops to Irabunum, who's then fouled by O'Reilly. And it's a free kick midway inside their own half here for Everton. Quarter of the game left to go. Everton 0, Manchester City 1. Doku, the difference maker as it stands. It's going to be taken by Jordan Pickford. Yeah, Manchester City won their last 9 in all competitions at Goodison Park with an aggregate score of 4-22. And they're winning here at Hill Dickinson for the first time. Keane in the centre circle, being closed down by Haaland, shifts it to the left to Mikalenko. They has to go all the way back towards Pickford, who has to come out of his 18-yard box and thumps it away first time, down the left channel. Header won by Kusanov. Straight to Irabunum. Heavy touch, but wins it back off Bernardo Silva. Merlin Roll. Tries to feed it in between the lines. Oh, it's a short back pass from Gay, and Donnarumma can't get there. And Tierno Barry places it home. It's a gift from Gay, but there's a flag that goes up. So Irabunum played it out to the right to Roll, and as Roll's tried to play it into Barry, he's in an offside position and he goes to play the ball. That is a massive let-off. Tierno Barry was certainly in an offside position, but the goal's been given. He is deemed to not have been intervening with play. And the goal will stand for Everton. The substitute Tierno Barry, who slots home a gift from Gay. The original ball towards Barry was offside. But Gay got there ahead of him and he was nowhere near him. He's gone to play back to Donnarumma. It's a short ball. And then Barry, from around 8 yards out, slots it home left-footed into the far corner. For all the heroics Donnarumma's done tonight, there's nothing he can do about that one. That is a monumental error from Gay. And at the moment, he's costing his team 2 points, which could throw away the league title. So the goal stands, it's 1-1. And the goal's been handed to Everton on a plate. City, for their slow tempo, have been punished. Not going for that second goal with enough intent. Doku on the left, tries to cut inside, fouled by O'Brien. Free kick for Manchester City. The gap back to 4 points now on Arsenal. Yes, they have a game in hand, but of course that game in hand won't get them level on points. Sorry, 5 points, sorry, off Arsenal. 5, obviously, with this 1 point. Less than 20 of the 90 to go. It's going to be an outswinger, sorry, from Bernardo Silva. In it goes towards Haaland, headed away to the far post here to Semenyo. Headed back to Nunes. Back out wide left to Bernardo Silva. Opens up the body on the left foot. Delivers another ball in towards Haaland. Heads it on towards Gay. You can't beat Pickford to it. And Pickford keeps the ball in his hands. And he's going to kick it long. Out of his hands. Up towards Merlin Roll. Battling with O'Reilly. The bouncing ball will go beyond him. And out for a throw-in for Manchester City. That is an error like none other that by Mark Gay. To give away the ball like that so needlessly. When there is little to no threat. Down the left channel for Everton. It's going to be cleaned up here by Kusanov. Donnarumma with a first time clearance. Beyond Garner. Headed by Keane. To Mikalenko, who puts it up into the sky. For Kusanov to control. And Kusanov to be dispossessed by Ndiaye in the area. Iliman Ndiaye to put them in front. What a tackle from Gay. It's a corner kick. Both Manchester City centre-backs giving away the ball. This time Kusanov, but this time he wasn't punished. The man who was punished, Gay, gets him out of trouble. Just outside of his box, showing too much of the ball to Ndiaye, who then had Bernardo Silva twisting and turning, and it was Gay who lunged to see it out for a corner. How the game can change so quickly. And City are seeing the league title fall away from them rapidly. It's going to be an in-swinger from Ghana. Into the near post. Glanstone in! O'Brien with the header. And to score his first goal of the season. And almost end Manchester City's title hopes. They have thrown it away in minutes. 2 massive errors from both centre-backs. And City have got the biggest mountain to climb. Donnarumma complaining. And Manchester City are waving the Premier League title away. Good ball in. Well won at the near post by O'Brien. Gets up beyond Gonzalez. And from a couple of yards out, the ball goes in. Donnarumma in no man's land. Don't know why he's complaining. And you can almost hear the Arsenal cheers in North London. Donnarumma books for the 7th time this season in the Premier League, 9th in all competitions. And Everton lead through Jake O'Brien. His first goal of the season. Scored twice last season. City are making changes. Gonzalez off for Kovacic. I think Semenyo's also come off for Foden. City simply need 2 goals to win this game. Their slow pace, their slow tempo in this second half has been punished. I'm not sure why they do it, but the 1 goal lead was never going to be enough, and it hasn't been enough. Foden on the right-hand side, played forward by Cherki. Garner putting the foot in and tackling him. Throwing for Manchester City. Everton well up for this as they jump up to 9th, 2 points behind 6th place Bournemouth. Gay. Skips beyond Irabunum. Gay, 25 yards out, tackle by Irabunum on the recovery from behind. Wins the ball. Dewsbury Hall trying to find Ndiaye. Núñez slips. Ndiaye's away. 1-on-1 with Kusanov. Ndiaye in the box. On his right foot. It's straight at Donnarumma. Twice he's done that now, Iliman Ndiaye. City need to counter quickly. Núñez. Out to the right-hand side to Bernardo Silva. He's got Cherki with him. Here is Ryan Cherki. Mikalenko with the handball, I think. Or a foul. And that's a free kick for Manchester City. 14.5 minutes to go. 2-1 to Everton in their quest for European football. Out towards this near side. It's Gay at fault for the first goal. Doku, the scorer of the first for Manchester City, on the outside of O'Brien. Tries to get it across. It's cleared at the near post by Tarkovsky. Kovacic, the substitute, plays it out towards the right to Núñez, 25 yards out. Out to the far side to Bernardo Silva. Wanting to cross it. He will deliver the ball in. Free header for Keane. Away it goes. It's going to be played back forward by Núñez. Foden with a flick just behind Cherki. It's now with Keane, who can't quite release it to a blue shirt. Núñez to Cherki, who takes over. O'Reilly, Kovacic, Bernardo Silva's free to the right. He finds him towards the corner flag on the far side. Back into Núñez. To Bernardo Silva again. Facing up against a huge blue wall. This City side. Cherki towards Foden, who's tripped on the edge of the area. And that's going to be a free kick. About 20 or so yards out. He's looked lively since coming on, Phil Foden. Garner with the trip. They need some magic, and they need it now. Manchester City. Goals from Barry and O'Brien have put Everton ahead in this second half. Cherki stood over it alongside Foden. Looks like it's Cherki who's going to be taking it right-footed. It's to the right side of the box, probably more suited to a left footer, but Cherki might fancy this. Cherki, around the wall. Is there a nick? No. Goal kick. 12 minutes plus added on time. Cherki just skimming the side netting. But Ndiaye had the chance to make it 3-1. Hit it straight at Donnarumma, 12 yards out. It shows you the fine margins of football. 2 mistakes from Gay and Kusanov, who have probably been 2 of City's best players in this recent run of form. They've cost them. As Pickford goes long from the goal kick. Up towards Barry, who wins the header on Kusanov, but the flick-on's too heavy. Straight to Donnarumma, throws it out to O'Reilly, who's not really been too involved in this second half from left back. Slips on the ball, but keeps it away from Roll. O'Reilly, fouled, few two nibbles there from Roll, and City take it quickly, midway side their own half with Kovacic. Bernardo Silva now. Gay on the halfway line to Doku on this near side. Goes inside to Kovacic, tackled by Irabunum on the slide tackle. Irabunum plays it to Barrett, who can't get away from Gay. It's now with Doku on the byline. Needs to be careful. Tries to turn Barry in the most dangerous position, but the free kick's been given for a foul. Not sure about that one. I think City have got away with that. 10 minutes plus added on time for City to save their season. Still not took this free kick yet, Manchester City. Eventually they do. Gay sending it long up towards Haaland. Heads it out wide left to Doku, who loses out to O'Brien. It's now Garner. Back to Keane. And all the way back to Pickford. Foden presses in the 18-yard area. Pickford gets it away with a kick forward. Down the middle of the pitch. It's an easy control for Kusanov. Then to the right to Núñez. Just 3 shots in the second half from Manchester City. None of them on target. Everton have had 9 shots, 5 on target. And 4 more touches in the opposition box. Doku tries to kick and run past O'Brien. And he can't. And the last touch comes off Doku. And O'Brien throws it down the right-hand side towards Merlin Roll, who can get there ahead of Kovacic. Merlin Roll to seal it for Everton. It's a drag shot to Barry, who's onside. And it's 3-1 to Everton. Title done. Arsenal are your Premier League champions for this season. Manchester City have thrown it away. It's a shot that's turned into a cross, and it's ended up being the most simple tap-in for Barry, who off the bench has scored a brace. He'd only scored 1 in his previous 11, Thierry Barry, and that was away at Newcastle at the end of February. Now he's got 2 off the bench against City, who have ended their title hopes. Doku with a silly giveaway on the near side. A quick throw in from O'Brien down the right-hand side. Roll got there ahead of Kovacic, and as he got towards the 18-yard box, he's gone to shoot. The shot has been completely dragged, but it's ended up being a perfect pass for Barry, who's onside. And it's Everton 3, Manchester City 1. Title race finished. If I'm going to be completely honest, I weren't too sure about the change from David Moyes to bring on Barry for Beto. But it's worked a treat. And from 1-0 down, they're 3-1 up with 8 to go. Haaland's in behind, though, to try and put one back. Erling Haaland dinks it over Pickford. It's 3-2. Is there hope in this game for Manchester City? Erling Haaland's been asleep all second half, but he's on the score sheet. And it's 3-2. 25th goal of the season in the Premier League. 36 in all competitions. Kovacic had the ball in the halfway line, and what a pass that is through the entire Everton team for Erling Haaland, right through the middle of the pitch. That's what Kovacic brings. That's class. Away from Keane, 12 yards out, dinked over Pickford, 3-2. City still need 2. Simple as that. So Manchester City fans who were going to leave have now returned. Foden. Doku, midway side zone half, beyond 2 Everton players. Erling Haaland needs to get on his bike. Doku, down the middle of the pitch, he's got Cherky to his right. Dewsbury Hall tries to stop him. Doku, in the area, needs to lay it off. Finds Kovacic, who goes for the shot, and what a waste that is. Slips and over the bar. And it remains 3-2 at Hill Dickinson. Not on clue what Kovacic is trying there. He's just done one of the passes of the day for the assist for the goal for Erling Haaland, and then has one of the worst shots of the season. 6.5 to go, plus added on time. City still need 2 more goals. Arsenal will be 6 points clear with 3 games left to play for themselves. City do have 4, but it's pretty much in sight for Arsenal. Thierry Barry controls the long Pickford ball into the box on the left-hand side. Poked by Kusanov, corner for Everton. They've already scored 1 corner tonight through Jake O'Brien with his first of the season. And of course, he's coming forward again. 6'6", Jake O'Brien. He's absolutely massive. Just a couple of inches taller than the likes of Keane and Tarkowski. Garner again on that far side to take it. Again to the near post. It's a header away this time by Núñez. Foden chases. Urbunum gets there first. Foden nibbling. Irabunum knocks it on, then back heel from Garner to Barry, who gets away from O'Reilly towards the corner flag, crosses in left-footed towards Roll, who will try and win the header on Gate, but it goes away from goal, and Bernardo Silva slams away from Manchester City to the halfway line, Keane with the header away, controlled by O'Reilly on the far side. Manchester City need to get another attacker on the pitch. Kovacic slipping this time, but he's able to just about keep his feet and find Phil Foden, who's took a more central position. Lifts it out to the left to Doku, who lost the ball for the third Everton goal. Can he get round the outside of O'Brien? He does, and then brought down. Free kick. O'Brien, the guilty partner. And that's going to be a yellow card. 3/4 of the back four booked for Everton. O'Brien, Tarkowski and Keane. You feel like they've got to make this count here, Manchester City. So much jeopardy on the game as well, because if Everton want to qualify for Europe, they need the 3 points here. Yeah, from that previous corner, Bernardo Silva's all over Merlin Roll. I can't believe that's not been spotted. That could have easily been a penalty for Everton, but the City captain has got away with it. Change. Bernardo Silva off for Manchester City. Omar Marmoush comes on. Just the one league goal for the Egyptian this season. And that was against Wolves at home back towards the end of January. Got to make this count. It'll be Cherky on the tight angle just outside the area. Got to get this right. Delivers it in all the way to the back post. It takes a nick off someone. Foden keeps it alive though on the far side. Keeps it away from Mykolenko. Nunes to Foden. Back to Nunes. Now Kovacic to Foden on the edge of the area. Left-footed. Goes for the shot and wide it goes. Goal kick. 3 minutes to go. Still Everton 3, Manchester City 2. We know how many times he scored from that range, but that time he got it wrong, cutting across the ball. And that is very wide from Phil Foden. Pickford with a long goal kick. Out to the Everton right. Merlin Roll heads it on. As far as Gay, who will let it roll for a throw-in for Manchester City. To be taken by O'Reilly. He's been forced to go back 5 yards. Throws it to Kovacic. Gets the ball returned to him. Now Kovacic again back into Gay. Manchester City running out of time in this game. 3 points is all they need. A point isn't enough. Gay, long ball headed on by Haaland. Headed forward by Tarkowski. Garner clears straight off Kovacic as it runs through for Marmoush. To the right-hand side now to Cherky. Running at Mykolenko. Tackled by Mykolenko. It's now a Nunes inside to Cherky, who gets away with being dispossessed there. Kovacic out to the right side to Nunes. Can't get away from Mykolenko. Foden to Kovacic, about 30 yards out. Forward to Marmoush in the area. Turns and shoots, blocked by Keane. Loose ball drops to Dewsbury Hall, who is fouled by Nunes. Free kick Everton. Manchester City still off last season's tally. They finished last season on 71 points. This defeat would leave them on 70. They are 6 unbeaten in the Premier League away from home, Manchester City. Looks like that run will be coming to an end. And for a team like Manchester City, who are so used to these sort of situations, they've completely capitulated here at Hill Dickinson. Long ball headed on by Barry, straight into the gloves of Donnarumma. 25 seconds away from 90. Kovacic, swiped by Dewsbury Hall. Play continues with Kusanov. Nunes. Foden. Haaland slightly deep here. Not sure why. He needs to get on that last defender. Gay. Now to Doku on this near side. Again tries to go on the outside. Then chops back in. Still with Merlin Roll, who tries to follow him. Doku's pass inside to set by Irabunum. Now Barry on his own. Good tackle from Gay. 6 added on here at Hill Dickinson. Kovacic to Foden. Dinks it out to the left-hand side to Doku. After such a good first half, he's had a very poor second half, Doku. Gay delivers, it's deep. It's a punch from Pickford, then into his hands. Gets straight onto his feet because he knows he can't hold it for too long. Tried to release it quick. Can't. Still in his hands here, Pickford. And then kicks it out of his hands. It's not the greatest of kicks. It is up to Barry, who can control it. And then gives away the ball in a poor position. Here's Marmoush down the left-hand side for City. Can he cut inside? Marmoush loses out. And Barry clears it again. Not very convincing. And it's a Manchester City throw-in with 5 minutes to go. And there's a double change here for Everton. Merlin Roll comes off for Nathan Patterson. The right back, whose last appearance in the Premier League was at the end of January as a late sub against Brighton away. So yeah, just appearance number 8 in the season for Nathan Patterson. And the second change, we'll see Kiernan Dewsbury Hall come off. And he's going to be replaced by Charlie Alcaraz, who's not started in the Premier League himself since the end of December. Comes on for his 18th Premier League appearance of the season. City back underway, go over 4 minutes to try and score 2 goals. They've done that before, all the way back in 2012, when they needed 2 against QPR. Now they need 2 away here at Everton. Kovacic, short ball given away. And it's Alcaraz, the substitute. Kicks it off Nunes, throw in for Everton. And I think that's pretty much game over. Pep Guardiola knows it. Season done in the Premier League for Manchester City. They could still do a domestic double with the FA Cup on as reward. But I think they can say goodbye to the Premier League title. Looks like it's going to be Arsenal who get there first since 2004. Marmoush with a glancing header. Haaland trying to switch out towards the left. It's up in the air. Patterson with the header. As far as O'Reilly, who heads forward to Doku on the halfway line. He's being bundled around by O'Brien and he wins the throw-in. Everton. No foul on Doku. Just over 3 minutes left to play. Everton 3, Manchester City 2. They were 1-0 down, Everton. 3 second half goals put them 3 up, and then an instant reply from City after the third. Has got it to 3-2. Long throwing down the line. Gay with a header volley by O'Reilly. Straight to Garner. Plays it forward to Alcaraz. Then out to the left to Mikalenko. To the feet of Ndiaye. Inside to Alcaraz. Turns away from Foden. Still with Alcaraz, tackled by Nunes. It's now Kovacic. Gets in front of Ndiaye. Trying to pull him back. Kovacic with the ball in behind again for Marmoush. Mikalenko slides in. And wins the ball. Cleared by Keane. Kovacic with 2 brilliant passes. One was the assist for the second goal. That one didn't quite end up being a goal, but you can see his vision. Kovacic finds Gay forward from centre-back. Now with Doku. Just over 2 minutes to go. Doku. On the outside. Clips it in. Header away. Can't be kept alive by Gay. Drops to Barry, who loses out to Kusanov and then wins it back. Barry tries to go on the outside. Heavy touch and it gives the ball away. City throw in with 2 minutes to go. Kovacic, 30 yards out. Forwards into the box for O'Reilly. Caught is it? Referee says no. And Alcaraz brings it away. And Everton are on for a 4th. Into the City half. Ndiaye. Haaland's the one getting back. But he can't stop Ndiaye. Nunes can. Haaland now has to try and get up the pitch as quickly as possible. Nunes. To his right to Cherky. City players seem flat on their feet here. Cherky into the box towards Nunes. Garner will get there ahead of him. And pokes it out of play. Throw in for Manchester City. They could really do with 2, and I can't even see them getting 1. Foden. Kovacic. Back out wide right to Ryan Cherki. Wants to cross it. Lays it off for Núñez instead. On his left foot. Scoops it into the far post towards Doku. Header won by Patterson. He's going to keep it in here, Doku. Gay. Back through for Doku. Less than a minute to go. Cross deflects off Irabunum. Corner. City wanted to go short, but Irabunum stayed on the floor as he rattled into the advertisement hoarding. So maybe a chance for City to get an equaliser, but in the story of their season, a draw is just not good enough. Still got some difficult games coming up as well, City. As it goes into the near post, glanced on, Donnarumma's up and he heads it on. Haaland does as well. Can't be cleared. Cleared away by Everton in the end. There's a chase on. Núñez against Ndiaye. We've played the 6 added on. Don't know how much more we'll play. As Núñez gets rid down the left-hand side. Cut out by Alcaraz. Well, as far as Cherki. As that Michael Oliver will allow play to continue for now. It's now or never for Manchester City. Cherki gets away from Garner. Cherki, edge of the area, plays it through. Foden, cross, comes off Mikalenko, corner. And there's a substitution here. Is there? Looks like he was. No, I think the added on time is for the substitution that took place within added on time for Everton, bringing on Patterson and Alcaraz. Donnarumma's up there again. Foden, in-swinger, deep to Gay, who controls it. Doku takes over, needs to shoot, will shoot, and in it goes! There's an equaliser for Manchester City. It might not be enough in the course of their season, but they'll take away a point, which slightly keeps their hopes alive. It's more of a sucker punch for Everton and their European title ambitions. Doku with 2 on the night. Both of them brilliant. And it's Everton 3, Manchester City 3. And after throwing away all 3 points, they've clawed back 1. Gay with the controlled ball from the corner. It fell to Doku from outside the area. Right-footed. Bent it towards the far corner. Again, Pickford helpless. It's a brilliant finish. And I think both teams will be walking away from this game massively frustrated with the result. As we're still not over. Everton have kicked it long. Donnarumma's kept it in his 18-yard box. Haaland waving them forward. City eventually go along with it, and then the whistle's blown for full time. Both managers and supporters and clubs will not be happy with that end result, but they'll have to shake hands and move on. Everton take a point off Manchester City again this season. They did it last season, but at the Etihad on Boxing Day. This time they've done it at a crucial point of the season. It ends all square at 3-3. It was only 1-0 at half-time. Jeremy Doku with a goal in the 43rd minute. With 2 minutes left to go in the half, a left-footed shot into the top left corner, beating Pickford. And then after that, it was a complete capitulation from Manchester City. The first goal given away cheaply by Gay, a short pass to Donnarumma, and Barry slotted home from 8 yards out. And then just 5 minutes later, the goal to put Everton ahead was scored by O'Brien. A in-swinging corner to the near post was headed on by the 6'6" Irishman, beating Donnarumma and giving Everton the lead. And they thought they wrapped up all 3 points. Tierno Barry scoring again in the 81st minute with a shot which ended up turning out to be a perfect pass from Merlin Roll into the path of Barry, who was onside and could tap home from around 6 yards out. It looked like it was all over for Manchester City, but they responded within a minute to go in 2 goals behind, cutting the deficit in half to 1. Erling Haaland lifting it over Pickford after a inch perfect pass from Kovacic. And with the last, or one of the last kicks of the game, Jeremy Doku gets his second of the game outside the area on that right foot, bending it to the far corner, saving a point for Manchester City, who are now 5 points behind Arsenal with a game in hand. But there's only 4 games left to play for the Blues. Probably the game where they've lost the league title. Nothing confirmed yet. but it's a huge mountain to climb where they're relying on Arsenal to drop points, which is looking unlikely at this stage of the season. I mean, what a game. It's ended 3-3. Time to get the breath back. As Jeremy Doku, who had such a good first half, had an awful second half in all honesty, but he's pulled the rabbit out of the hat with that shot at the end to get it to 3-3. And, Manchester City will see that as 2 points dropped, but in the end, really, they've somehow gained a point from that game. It was always going to be a difficult place to come to, but Arsenal have come to Hill Dickinson and won. Manchester United have come here and won. Liverpool have come here and won. But Manchester City have slipped and tripped and have drew here at Hill Dickinson on this Monday night. I hope you'd enjoy it. Make sure you like, subscribe if you have not already. As here at Hill Dickinson, Manchester City slip up in the Premier League title race and almost pretty much handing it to Arsenal. It's definitely the Gunners to lose as they look for a first league title in 22 years. It's now all down to Arteta and Arsenal, who have also got Champions League to focus on. But here, for Manchester City, they've let a goal slip and they've let a lead slip. They've lost 3 points. They've only gained 1. They're now 5 behind Arsenal with a game in hand. As here at Hill Dickinson, it finishes Everton 3, Manchester City 3.